Hi, this is TrueColours and this is my lecture 1 and we are going to discuss and proactively learn what is philosophy and why should we study philosophy. In this YouTube channel, I have already made 50 voiceless videos intentionally, purposefully and deliberately just for concrete note making of Indian and Western philosophy, philosophy of religion, and socio-political philosophy for the philosophy optional students and aspirants worldwide. So, interested and good content seeking students and aspirants should visit all the 50 videos, and after reading thoroughly once or twice, they should make their own notes accordingly. So let's dive in today's lecture. Before starting, I want to make a question. That question is philosophical and so important. So just listen carefully and think once or twice, please. The question is, can we resolve anything without finding out its problem or solution? Again reiterating, can we resolve anything without finding out its problem or reason? The answer is a big no. So, how can we jump directly over the definition of philosophy or the concrete question, why should we study philosophy? See, there are few key reasons why many people are not particularly interested in philosophy. Again, reiterating, there are few key reasons why many people are not particularly interested in philosophy. So, I am going to discuss six key reasons that will show that why many people are not particularly interested in philosophy. Number one is perceived irrelevance. What is perceived irrelevance? See, philosophy is often seen as abstract, impractical, and disconnected from the real world concerns and problems that people face in their daily lives. Many view it as an intellectual pursuit with little tangible value. The second one is difficulty and complexity. See, philosophy tackles profound, abstract, and challenging questions that require careful, rigorous thinking. The concepts and arguments can be complex and inaccessible to those without prior exposure or inclination for such cerebral subject matter. Third one is lack of concrete answers. See, philosophy is more about asking deep questions and exploring different perspectives than providing definitive or black and white answers. This open ended nature can be unsatisfying for those who seeking clear cut solution. Okay. The fourth one is cultural bias. In many cultures, there is a bias towards more practical, technical, or vocational fields of study over the humanities. Philosophy is sometimes viewed as an impractical or soft subject compared to STEM, that is called STEM disciplines. Then fifth one is educational gaps. See, many educational systems do not place a strong emphasis on philosophy, either at the school or university level. This results in a lack of philosophy. This results in a lack of exposure and familiarity with the discipline for much of the general public. Again, reiterating this point, educational gap. See, many educational systems do not place a strong emphasis on philosophy either at the school level or at the university level. This results in a lack of exposure and familiarity with the discipline for much of the general public. The sixth and last one is misconceptions. What is misconceptions regarding philosophy? There are common misconceptions that philosophy is just about debating obscure thought experiments. Okay, philosophy is just about debating obscure thought experiments or engaging in endless, fruitless arguments. This perception can make it seem like an unproductive or elitist field. While philosophy may not appeal to everyone, those who do engage with it often find it immensely rewarding in terms of developing critical thinking skills, gaining new perspectives, and grappling with life's biggest questions. But overcoming the barriers listed above an ongoing challenge for the field. Again reiterating, while philosophy may not appeal to everyone, those who do engage with it often find it immensely rewarding in terms of developing critical thinking skills, gaining new perspectives, and grappling with life's biggest questions, but overcoming the barriers listed above an ongoing challenge for the field. So now let's learn and discuss and learn what is philosophy. See, philosophy is a combination of two words. Sorry, before going next, I want to just clear one thing that in this particular lecture, we are not going to discuss the origin of philosophy or the etymology of philosophy or the branches of philosophy because that is separate or particular topic. Today we will only discuss what is philosophy, what is the why should we study philosophy or its examples. So let's get started. What is philosophy? See, philosophy is a combination of two words, philos plus sophia. Philos means love and sophia means wisdom. Okay, philos means love and sophias means wisdom, and its full meaning is love of wisdom. What is wisdom? The rational, abstract, and methodical consideration of reality as a whole or of fundamental dimensions of human existence and experience. Again, reiterating, see, my only attempt is to define philosophy in a layman language. Okay, so again reiterating, philosophy is a combination of two words, philos plus sophia. Philos means love and sophia means wisdom, and its whole meaning is love of wisdom. What is wisdom? The rational, abstract, and methodical consideration of reality as a whole or of fundamental dimensions of human existence and experience. Philosophy is defined as certa scientia per ultima causis. Certia scientia per ultima causis, which means certain knowledge through ultimate causes, acquired by the use of human reason alone. Quite literally, the term philosophy means love of wisdom. In a broad sense, philosophy is an activity people undertake when they seek to understand fundamental truths about themselves. What are fundamental truths about themselves, like their existence, their reality, their righteousness, thought, morality, time, meaning, or how we know reality, what is beautiful, reason, knowledge, good arguments, value, mind, and language. It is a rational and critical inquiry that reflects on its own methods and assumptions. The world in which they live and their relationship to the world and to each other via pursuit of wisdom, truth, and knowledge through individual or group concepts or ideologies. Philosophy is the study of fundamental questions about the nature of reality, knowledge, and values by constantly asking, answering, and arguing for the answers to life's most basic questions about how to behave or how to conduct. Philosophy as a critical and comprehensive process of thought. What is comprehensive process of thought? It can be analytic and synthetic. It can be practical and theoretical. It can be logical and empirical or practical. So, comprehensive process of thought involves resolving confusion, unmasking assumption, revealing presuppositions, refuting stereotypes and superstitions, distinguishing importance, testing positions, correcting distortions, looking for reasons, examining worldviews, and questioning conceptual frameworks. Hope so you are getting my point, because earlier I have made the notes in most layman language and most simplest language by decoding the tough language or the complexity or the difficulty level. Okay, some examples of questions that philosophy explores include: who I am, who am I, what am I, do I have free will, how can I distinguish moral good from bad or moral right from wrong, who should be in charge, what is the purpose of life, what is the way that life should be lived, how should we decide, what is fairness, what is responsibility, what is beauty, are some things absolutely wrong or right, or is it all relative, is zero a number, and many more questions can be resolved by philosophy. Why study philosophy? See, why study philosophy? So, before discussing the question, why should we study philosophy? I want to let you a philosophical riddle. Okay, I want to let you a philosophical riddle. Just bear with me so that we can precisely and accurately understand why should we study philosophy. So you can do Google search For more philosophical puzzles, there are tens of hundreds puzzles, philosophical puzzles are there, so you can precisely understand and know that why should we study philosophy. So here I am discussing one philosophical riddle, and the riddle name is the woman and bridge. The woman and bridge. So let's get started. There once was a woman who lived in the city. Her husband had been neglecting their marriage for a while, and she no longer recognized the man she once loved. One fateful night, as the husband was away for business, she decided to cross over the other side of the river to go and meet the man who had been trying to seduce her for a while. They made passionate love. The woman gathered her things and left her lover, hoping to get some sleep before dawn. When she reached the bridge, however, a madman was blocking the passage, threatening to assault her if she tried to cross. Terrified by the deranged brute and knowing the bridge was the only way back home, she started calling for help. Then what happened? A dark figure signaled her to come over from a flight of stairs to the bridge's side. It was a ferryman who offered to help the woman cross over using his small boat, the only boat around. However, he demanded an indecent sum of money. Okay, the ferryman demanded an indecent sum of money for the service, far more than any cash or object of value that the woman was carrying. She tried to beg, but the ferryman was firm as an oak. But the ferryman was firm as an oak. Oak is a tree. Hoping to find some help, she went back to her lover's home and asked him to lend her the sum. She would, of course, repay him as soon as the next evening. But she quickly understood that the lover was interested in nothing but sex and didn't even believe she would honor her debt. Broken-hearted, she finally went to knock on the door of her suitor, a friend who also lived on that side of the river and who had declared his love for her a few months earlier, only to be rejected. Okay, she explained the entire situation to him and asked him to lend her the money to pay the ferryman. Furious that she only came to him out of financial distress, the suitor, his friend, bluntly refused and closed his door on her. Now, next, what happened? Blinded with rage and despair and out of options, the woman finally tried to cross the bridge in spite of the madman. He grabbed her, hit her, and pushed her over the bridge into the freezing water, where she drowned. Okay, where she drowned. See, it is a tragic tale indeed. Now the question is this: who is responsible for the woman's death? Okay, if you understood that story, the philosophical riddle, the question is who is responsible for the woman's death? Is it the madman who pushed her over? Is it the ferryman who offered to save her but only in exchange of some she couldn't afford? Or is it the suitor or the friend who both refuse to help in spite of their attachment to her? Or is it the woman herself for putting herself in the situation in the first place? Or is it the husband who wasn't making her happy anymore? Again, reiterating these questions because these questions are so important to know that why should we study philosophy. Is it the madman who pushed her over, or is it the ferryman who offered to save her but only in exchange of a sum she couldn't afford? Or is it the suitor or the friend who both refused to help in spite of their attachment to her? Or is it the woman herself for putting herself in this situation in the first place? Or is it the husband who wasn't making her happy anymore? So the question is, who is responsible for the woman's death? Please think. Now, or maybe it's all of them, okay? Or maybe it's all of them whom are responsible in her death to some degree, but or maybe it's all of them to some degree, but then to which degree? What makes one more or less responsible than the others? What's aggravating? What's redeeming? Or maybe it's none of them because moral responsibility is just an arbitrary social construct. Maybe we can't possibly have enough information to make judgments on anyone's actions. And it's also a great puzzle because whenever you try to reach a group consensus on who is most and least responsible, 90% of time it ends up being plain impossible. You see people in the group vigorously defend opinions that are polar opposites, having an extraordinarily hard time figuring out why the other thinks that way. That's because the puzzle strips your opinions down to their most basic tenets, values. They are the axioms of your thinking. You get them from your education, and they are very hard to change once you are, say, over 25. This exercise eventually teaches you to consider why other people have different values and to try to understand their frame of reference. And nothing helps you more when you are discussing complicated political and moral issues than understanding why the other person thinks what they think. Okay, so now we will easily discuss that why should we study philosophy. So our question is, why should we study philosophy? See, philosophy builds practical critical thinking skills such as logical decision making, clear, careful and persuasive writing, the habit of questioning assumption, the ability to understand complicated text to solve real world problems. Philosophy improves the ability to think clearly, carefully, and logically about a wide variety of topics to assimilate and assess new and unfamiliar ideas and information via sound reasoning methods and problem solving strategies that work in all sorts of contexts, including new and familiar ones. Then, why should we study philosophy? To think creatively and to question conventional wisdom. It encourages both to seek new and better answers to old problems and to consider how existing techniques might be adapted to solve new problems. Philosophy is the ultimate training for thinking outside the box. Again reiterating, philosophy is the ultimate training for thinking outside the box. Why should we study philosophy? Because philosophy involves the acquisition of sophisticated critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills that will be useful for whatever career or path one chooses. Why should we study philosophy? Because the study of philosophy enhances a person's problem solving capacities. It helps us to analyze concepts, definitions, arguments, and problems. It contributes to our capacity to organize ideas and issues, to deal with questions of value, and to extract what is essential from large quantities of formation. Then, why should we study philosophy? Because philosophy contributes uniquely to the development of expressive and communicative powers. It provides some of the basic tools of self expression. For example, skills in presenting ideas through well constructed systematic arguments that other fields either do not use or use less extensively. Philosophy helps us express what is distinctive in our views. It enhances our ability to explain difficult material, and it helps us to eliminate ambiguities and vagueness from our writing and speech. Why should we study philosophy? Because philosophy provides training in the construction of clear formulations, good arguments, and appropriate examples. It thereby helps us to develop our ability to be convincing. We learn to build and defend our own views. Via philosophy, we learn to build and defend our own views, to appreciate competing position, and to indicate forcefully why we consider our own views preferable to alternatives. Why should we study philosophy? Because philosophy teaches or learns interpretive writing through its examination of challenging text, comparative writing, through emphasis on fairness to alternative positions. Argumentative writing through developing students' ability to establish their own views, and descriptive writing through detailed portrayal of concrete examples. Philosophy is indispensable for ability to understand other disciplines. Many important questions about a discipline, such as the nature of its concepts and its relation to other disciplines, are philosophical in nature. Philosophy of science, for example, is needed to supplement the understanding of the nature and social science that derives from scientific work itself. Philosophy of literature and philosophy of history are of similar values in understanding the humanities, and philosophy of art or aesthetics or beauty is important in understanding both the visual and the performing arts. Philosophy is moreover essential in assessing the various standards of evidence used by. Yes, philosophy is moreover essential in assessing the various standards of evidence used by other disciplines. Since all fields of knowledge employ employ reasoning and must set standards of evidence, logic and epistemology have a general bearing on all these fields. Then why should we study philosophy? Development of sound methods of research and analysis via sound hypotheses in the fields of arts, business, computer science, engineering, health and profession, health professions, laws, journalism and communications, government services, the clergy, social work, teaching, technical writing. So, hope so you would definitely understand that what is the definition of philosophy, what is philosophy, and why should we study philosophy, and also got understood the philosophical riddle, intention behind the philosophical riddle. So, what is philosophy? Philosophy means thinking outside the box and certe scientia per ultima causes. It means certain knowledge through ultimate causes acquired by the use of human reason alone. Then, what is philosophy? See, philosophy means wisdom. Wisdom means enlightenment. Means beatitude. What is beatitude? Happiness. That is also called bliss. And bliss is philosophy. Success needs a process, so keep calm and live in the moment. You have the courage to begin again. Think philosophically. And moreover, see, philosophy can be regarded as private wisdom. giving the person the ability to look things and on a positive note. Hence, this gives person the opportunity to be optimistic, especially in times of misfortune. Again, reiterating, philosophy can be regarded as a private wisdom, giving the person the ability to look things on a positive note. Hence, this gives person the opportunity to be optimistic, especially in times of misfortune. So, we all are small universes, okay, living in a big universe. Again reiterating, we all are small universes living in the big universe. Let's make ourselves philosophically better human beings through enlightenment, through bliss, through beatitude, through philosophy. Thanks for watching.